Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. And I've gotten this question so often. Talk about the metals, Jim. Talk about the metals coming out of the plains. So we're gonna revisit this situation and get into the details of it. But some new happenings have been going on, so I might as well point those out to you. I was just recently on the Higherside chat with Greg Carlwood. Freaking epic episode. Links are already in the details. Go check it out. Weather weapons, ecological warfare, and the climate changers. You can go ahead and listen to the first hour, and if you like what you're hearing over there, sign up for THC Plus and listen to the second hour. Greg Carlwood's got a great show, the Higherside chat, if you've never listened to it. And I was just this past Wednesday on with my brother from another mother, quite frankly. And we talked about the climate criminals and NATO MindWar. And you can hear that on SoundCloud as well. Freaking epic discussion that night. So you really like it. Before we get into that, the video about the metals real quick. It's going to be a pretty quick one tonight. Hit that subscribe button, come over here to the YouTube, hold your nose while you do it. Hit that subscribe button, helps out the channel. Leave a comment, please. Boost the video. Share it out to friends. Sharing is caring. And things are real tight. It's getting close to Christmas. I have 2 daughters. If you can donate to the PayPal, it'd be greatly appreciated. Everything I do is free of charge. And as you're going to see, I put a lot of work into this one. About 3 hours making this infographic today alone. But regardless, I get this question the most. Like, what are the metals? Like, what are the chemtrails? Like, tell me about the chemtrails. And for me, being straight up, just blatantly honest, I had a comment in the last video. Just tell them the truth, what you think, Jim, that it's pollution. I think that the number one concern about chemtrails, contrails, plane farts, whatever you want to call them, is that whether you see a cloud or not, there's an invisible trail of poison. And yeah, I hate the clouds. And yeah, I hate it for all the reasons you do. And yes, I do believe this affects human health in untold ways, as well as affecting the climate through geoengineering. But you can't get to any of that if you don't start with the basic facts. And the basic facts are all of these metals are present. Now, people talk about aluminum. Some people talk about barium. Some people, want to just focus on, aluminum and barium. But no, all of the ones marked here are present in the jet exhaust. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hop over here to climateviewer.com/cirrus clouds matter. You'll hear me reference that a lot because cirrus clouds do matter. Seriously. And we're going to talk about how cirrus clouds are made and what the metal clouds are made of. Because when you look into it, it's pretty interesting. So this is straight from the United States Air Force. We'll blow it up nice and big, get my face out the way. And you can see right here, solid and volatile engine particulate emissions from FT, HEFA. Those are biofuels, Fischer-Tropsch and HEFA, JP8, and blends of them. This is from 2012. And what did they say? That basically fuel sulfur content is responsible for rapid volatile particulate matter formation in the plume. So sulfur has an effect on the amount of particulates, the nanoparticles coming out of the jet exhaust that make the clouds. Sulfate aerosols create nucleation mode and coat soot particles that basically sulfuric acid and vapor, so SO2 and H2SO4, that these chemicals basically coat the soot particles, and the soot particles are filled with metals. And, here's an original link to the actual thing from the Air Force Research Lab. And the reason this is important is because aerosol cloud interaction are one of the main uncertainties in climate change research. That people doing all these climate change models and predictions, they don't understand hardly anything about how these clouds are made and what their effects on the climate are. And that's still true today. So I'm going to real quickly take you over to my speech to the EPA about flight pollution, where I went up to Washington, D.C., and I gave testimony on this. And, this was broadcast on C-SPAN, and I think I pretty much summarized it well here. Hi, my name is James Lee. I'm from Sumter, South Carolina. I'm a citizen. Why is the EPA claiming that 6 greenhouse gases emitted from jet planes are a threat to human health under the Clean Air Act while doing nothing to address ongoing lawsuits over leaded aviation gasoline or the real health concerns of stakeholders worldwide? Cancer-causing heavy metals in fuels and their additives and aviation-induced cloudiness. You, the EPA, claim the authority to regulate aviation emissions under the Clean Air Act, a law that should protect us from the aforementioned poisonous pollution. However, the definition of pollution is being perverted to mean climate change gases in what can only be called a violation of the spirit of the law. Air pollution which may reasonably be anticipated to endanger public health or welfare. That's the quote. As you can see by the wording in the Clean Air Act, lead, barium, aluminum, and trade secret toxic chemicals clearly present a greater danger to public health than greenhouse gases, no matter how much climate science you accumulate. Appreciate it. Forgot to unmute after I did that. Bet you're wondering why I was flipping off the camera. So I don't like this because 2 things. I don't like cloud creation, and I don't like metal particles coming out of planes. So that's my main concern about this topic, is that metal nanoparticles are creating clouds and raining on us every day, and that the airline industry has nobody regulating them, and that has been going on for far too long. So that's why I'm concerned about this topic. Let's go over here. Mic should be fine now. I muted it while I was playing the video, and as a derp, because it's late and all those things. Yes. So the reason I created these pages is basically so that you can have like a frequently asked question page that summarizes these topics. And for a very long time, I had all of these different sections, and this is all getting updated as we speak. But right now, how language controls the chemtrail debate, what makes a cirrus cloud was what we just looked at. But we're going to scroll down here to, are cirrus clouds filled with metal? And if you go to the IPCC, the same people that make all of these climate change predictions, you'll see that they say that aluminum, titanium, chromium, iron, nickel, and barium are estimated to be present in the parts per billion by volume at the nozzle exit planes. And this is based on a 1975 papers. Now, bro, if you're going to go and you're going to make an estimate, and it's going to be based on something that you're going to quote something from 1975, and I think this was the 5th report of the IPCC, that's just slack, pathetic, and just completely untrue. So what's the real story? What's the updated story? So I dug a little deeper. Of course, you know me, looking for something, to really go by. And you've probably seen this on other prominent channels. I know, Mike from Underground World News, Mike Morales uses this image a lot. I created this a long time ago. I basically found this paper, Trace Element and Polycyclic Aromatic Hydrocarbon Analysis of Jet Engines, Fuels, Jet A, JP5, and JP8. And I cut this out and I highlighted the ones that people talk about the most: aluminum, strontium, titanium. And you can see all of the different chemicals right here. Aluminum, barium, calcium, chromium, copper, iron, lead, manganese, magnesium, nickel, niobium, potassium, scandium, selenium, strontium, sulfur, tin, titanium, vanadium, zirconium. Oh my! So that's a lot of metals just in the fuel. And of course, that means that these get burned and then they get spread out in the sky as cloud seeds. That's what the water sticks to. When you're dealing with a chemtrail debunker that says it's just water vapor condensation, your response should be condensating on what? Because in order to make a cloud, you need a seed. You need something for that water vapor to stick to. So, what are they sticking to? They are sticking to soot. And what is the soot filled with? It is filled with all of these metals. And what are the soot coated in? Sulfuric acid. What does that make? Acid rain and metal nanoparticles all over the sky. If you like breathing that, then flip to the next video, go get your rocks off. I personally don't think it's cool. I think that it's not okay. And that's why I wanted to really, update this. Now, that paper was from a little while ago. So I wanted to get something even more updated and more, conclusive. And this is what I found. And this is from 2016. And it's called Chemical Characterization of Freshly Emitted Particulate Matter from Aircraft Exhaust Using a Single Particle Mass Spectrometry. And what they said, the detected metallic compounds were all internally mixed with soot particles. Okay? So it's all mixed into the soot. The most abundant metals were chromium, iron, molybdenum, sodium, calcium, and aluminum. Also detected vanadium, barium, cobalt, copper, nickel, lead, magnesium, manganese, silicone, titanium, and zirconium. So here we have what's in the fuel before it's burned. And here you have an actual test where they set up behind the jet aircraft and were testing the chemicals coming out of the plane in real time. And these are the metals they found. So you cannot make this stuff up. So I went and I made this infographic right here. And as you can see by the chart, I've highlighted them in red. The majority of them are transition metals, alkaline earth metals, and, alkali metals over here, just these two, sodium and potassium. Not as big a problem there. Aluminum, silicon, tin, and lead, they're kind of outliers. And of course, sulfur and selenium aren't even metals, but they were detected in the jet fuel. The problem with sulfur is sulfur increases the amount of soot. And we'll zoom in on this section here because, as you can see, I made this graphic and made it very high resolution. This will be appearing on a website near you soon because you got to update these things, But the sulfur increases the amount of particulates that end up, coming out of the plane. And selenium's probably right there with it. The aluminum and silicon, they're in a different class, obviously. You can see they're metalloids. And, obvious aluminum's in the other metals section. So this is a little science class on some chemicals and stuff. But as you can see here, I just put metals detected in jet exhaust. And I highlighted these differently, obviously, because they're actually they were detected in the fuel. They didn't really talk about that because sulfur goes through conversion, becomes sulfuric acid and other things. It's not just as simple as that. But these, generally speaking, when they're burned, come out as nanoparticles of metal. And you're going to see them, just basically spreading out in the sky and falling in your water, in your lakes, and everywhere. And that is a problem. That is a serious problem. Strontium and barium right here. We're a stone's throw away from the radioactive areas. And the list goes on, of course. Titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zirconium, niobium, molybdenum. Oh my. So let's go back here. Go back down here to the website. And I want to show you this other picture, and this kind of summarizes all the things. Now, this doesn't even include the fact that, they're talking about using nanoparticles to increase biofuel performance. And in it, they say things like, why don't we add aluminum nanoparticles? Jatropha biofuel, a fuel derived from crushed seeds of the Jatropha plant, water, a surfactant, then blended in different proportions of alumina nanoparticles. But wait, nanoparticles should be used judiciously because they tend to entrain themselves into human bodies. This is why it's a problem. Because nanoparticles can permeate the blood-brain barrier. They can easily pass through all of our defense systems in our body, and biplanes constantly spewing out, farting out, burning exhaust that puts nanoparticles of heavy metals into the sky, and it creates clouds, and all the issues that are associated with the clouds. Many other videos on that. It's a problem. But here you can actually see in an article entitled Lead-Lined Clouds. This is an ice crystal from a cirrus cloud. And you can actually see where it says PB inclusions. This is the lead in the ice that created the cloud. Can't make this stuff up. And this is from the Royal Society of Chemistry. So not exactly your, conspiracy website. And you can see it right there. Lead-lined clouds from 2009. So when I say metal clouds, this is what I'll be talking about. This ice crystal collected from a cloud at Switzerland's Jungfraujoch research station contains lead dispersed from human activities. And there have been many other studies since this time where they have found all of these metals in the sky. And the reason this is important is because in clarifying the dominant sources of mechanisms of cirrus cloud formation, they said it would seem that you would have to change all of the aerosol in the atmosphere very radically to get a big difference, to get a big effect on the clouds. But because mineral dust and metallic particles are such a small amount of the particulate matter, just 1% or 2%, it means that you only have to change 1% or 2% of the particles to get a big effect on these clouds. So that is as slam dunk as you can get. The metal coming out of planes creates clouds, creates human health concerns. These are the metals. There's no longer hiding it. There's no longer denying it. This is my short video for you to share with people to inform them about this, where the facts are, hands down, period, point blank. I hope that you guys have found this informative. And I hope that you guys can support my channel. And please, by all means, it's Christmas time. I'm working my tail off behind the scenes, and I'm going to be putting out a whole bunch more videos. But please support my channel. with a donation to Patreon. My children would greatly appreciate it right now. Love you, mean it. See you on the next one. Probably next video is going to be about the Star Wars and Chinese satellites crushing other satellites. A satellite crusher from China. Pretty crazy stuff. If you have not checked out the rest of the videos that I've done on the chemtrail problem, please see the hashtag Cirrus Clouds Matter on my YouTube channel. Just go to the YouTube page. You'll see it right there at the top. There's a playlist. It's going to contain all of these videos, and I would greatly appreciate you sharing those as well. But that being said, metal, plane farts, bad. Okay? Planes making clouds, don't like it. Got sued in 1970. Illinois and New Jersey sued the airline industry. Nothing was done about it. Went to the EPA in Washington, D.C. 2015. Complained about the metal and the clouds. Nothing done about it. Still going on today. Jet setters, COP26, talking about climate trace programs to use 11,000 sensors to tell where all the pollution on the planet are come from to hold people accountable. How many people ended up spraying metal all over the planet? Mad Jeeper, you my main creeper. Love you, brother. Thank you too. What was the climate impact of the Convention of Parties 26? I'd like to know that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this metal particle problem something that we should even be concerned about? Do you think that it's just too small a problem for people to care about? Because all I see is a lot of people going, but chemtrails, but, depopulation, but all of these things. But Jim is a denier. But I'm just trying to give you the facts. And the facts are, these are harmful to human health. They are in the jet fuel. They are in the jet exhaust. They make the clouds that piss you off. And these are the facts. So with that being said, knowing's half the battle. And with the information comes responsibility. So please use this information to attack ideas, not people. Love you, mean it, guys.